Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, June 14th. The main concerns are today across parts of the southern areas of the Great Basin again and the Sierra Front, which is where we will continue to see isolated thunderstorms that will be on the drier side. These could have some light precipitation, but mostly gusty outflow winds and increases in lightning. Otherwise, temperatures will continue to heat up, especially through the early to mid portion of next week, with more thunderstorms possible later in the week over western and northern areas. As far as fuels, fire danger will continue to rapidly increase with the incoming heat and dryness through much of the week, with many areas reaching the 90th or 97th percentile by early in the week. Looking at our fire potential impact slide, you can see where we have the risk of thunderstorms again today over parts of southern and central Utah, but today we'll be building a little bit further west into eastern and central Nevada, with also isolated thunderstorms again on the Sierra Front, mainly being a mix of wet and dry, but mostly on the drier side with gusty outflow winds. Otherwise, temperatures continue to heat up, and we will see a return of some gusty northwest winds on Tuesday and Wednesday in parts of the north and east. Over the last 24 hours, we did see isolated thunderstorms over southern Utah and the Arizona Strip and over the Sierra Front, and these thunderstorms were on the drier side, with most areas seeing less than 0.05 of an inch of precipitation, but there were some pin drops of near 1/10 of an inch. Over the last 7 days, we've seen very dry conditions across Nevada and Utah, and any precipitation we even saw in the north was generally below normal, with the exception of southeast Idaho. Over the last 24 hours, we've had 21 new fires across the Great Basin for 43.2 acres, with 8 acres of growth on large fires. Looking at our current ERC conditions, ERCs are above the 90th percentile in much of southern, central, and eastern areas of the Great Basin, and above the 80th in many areas in the north. And you can see from the arrows, ERCs will continue to increase over the next several days with the incoming heat and dryness. So looking at the next few days, we do have weak low pressure across the Great Basin, which is what will allow some more instability for those thunderstorms to develop again today in similar areas that we saw yesterday, with again that slight westward push. And we do have high risk for those thunderstorms in the south, as these areas have been very dry with critical fuels and no recent precipitation. As we move into Monday, we will see that ridge really start to build in, so temperatures starting to heat up both Monday and Tuesday. However, on Tuesday, we will have an increase in winds over parts of Idaho and Utah, so we do have an area of high risk for those gusty winds and some of those dry conditions in the north. We will have to keep an eye on areas further south along and on the east side of the Utah mountains, as those winds will start picking up as well. And you can see today in the area that we do have lightning, we are seeing again those very high fire danger indices. So for winds today, we just mainly will see gusty outflow winds, otherwise generally light to moderate winds, and relative humidity will be in the single digits, but a bit higher in areas that we do see those thunderstorms. On Monday, we'll see generally mild conditions with respect to wind. However, we will see those very hot temperatures and the very dry conditions. And then Tuesday is when the winds really start to pick up, especially in the north and also down into northern Utah, with still single digit and low teen humidity. So for precipitation, just very light amounts with those thunderstorms today. And then on Monday, can't rule out a few lingering thunderstorms, but mostly drying out for Monday and Tuesday as those temperatures continue to heat up, with Tuesday and Wednesday being the hottest days. As we go into the Wednesday through Friday time period, still gusty northwest winds on Wednesday, so we'll have to keep an eye on parts of Idaho and Utah for any potential high risk, especially in areas that we do see lightning today and that we saw yesterday. And then by Thursday and Friday, a weak area of low pressure off the west coast may allow thunderstorms to return in western and northern areas. Currently, we have no high risk, just an increase in fire potential going to moderate risk, but we will be watching those thunderstorms with that potential. So wind-wise on Wednesday, again, still kind of a breezy day in Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, so we'll have to keep an eye on Utah for any potential high risk. And then Thursday and Friday, winds generally quiet down, but still very dry conditions, and we'll watch for that return of lightning. You can see that here on the precipitation maps, again, starting to show that potential Thursday and Friday for thunderstorms, and then temperatures really peaking Tuesday and Wednesday before a gradual decline, and then possibly more of a decline later in the week, but still remaining above normal. So as a recap to our 7-day significant fire potential outlook, today we do have that high risk in southern areas for lightning today with those gusty outflow winds. And then we will see a gradual increase in fire potential across the region as temperatures heat up and we see temperatures 15 to 18 degrees above normal with very dry conditions and poor overnight recoveries. And then those windy conditions on Tuesday, the high risk in the north, but we'll have to watch that Tuesday, Wednesday time period. And then again, no high risk yet for lightning Thursday and Friday, but something we're watching. The 6 to 10 day outlook taking us a little bit later in June shows hot temperatures still remaining, but we could see some additional potential of moisture generally over eastern areas. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.